Of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
Okay.
Okay.
Approval of the minutes.
I think you have to take all in favor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're all right.
You know they call Robert's rules. This is Mark's rules.
Right.
Approval of the meeting minutes? I'll make a motion to approve the meeting
For a
minutes.
second.
All in
Second.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
There we go.
Okay, I'm gonna actually right now. Everyone got the chair's report, right? Anyone have any questions of it? You could ask now, or you could feel free to give me a call and ask me.
We sent it to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to turn it over now to Lisa to run the nomination.
Okay, so what we're doing today, and thank you for coming and sending in your proxy ballots as well, is taking nominations for the position of chair and for first vice chair, for vice chair. Mark and Jerry are up for nomination for re-election, given the bylaws of LIRRCC, which calls for 2-year elections every 2 years. And so the nominations are now open. Let's take the first one.
And
Do I hear a nomination?
this is,
Yes. Do I hear a nomination?
this is Larry. I nominate Mark for chair and Jerry as vice chair.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay.
I can second one and second the other.
Yep, we have a second from Marilyn.
Okay. All in favor?
And we have the proxy.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, you can't.
Too late.
Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. So we now have our nominees for chair and for
Can we
vice
just put
chair.
on the record that we have proxies? Just so
Oh, yes, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
the
On the
record
record,
reflect
we have a proxy for Larry, but he's joined us, and also for Mike and for
Brian.
For Brian,
Brian.
sorry.
I saw Brian.
For Brian. So we do have certainly more than sufficient number to meet a quorum. So the election for these positions will take place at the next meeting, which is in May. And did I put the date on there? No, it's on my calendar. So kindly ask, as I'm doing this, we kindly ask that you participate in the May LIRRCC meeting, and
whether it be in
it's on
person
May
or
9th.
proxy.
It's on May 9th. If you need a proxy vote, we'll send out the agenda, we'll send out the information in advance. If you need a proxy, we can provide that as well for the May 9th meeting. So following that election on May 9th, the next step in order to make PCAC whole is to have a nomination from PCAC, and that meeting is June 6th, for the position of second vice chair.
Okay, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
So we're done. I want to go into a couple of things
Yeah.
before we head out.
Okay, nominations are closed and voted on. Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you. A couple of things. First of all, they're going to be doing a lot of work to Penn Station. There's plans to redo a lot of it. And so I had asked them, the MTA, to give us a tour as to what they're going to actually be doing. The problem is they really don't want to do it during rush hour because they have to take us around. So they'd like to do it maybe earlier or something at some point. So we can do it in lieu of a meeting, but make it earlier, or we can add another day on and do it some other time. So I'm throwing it out initially now, and then we'll do it as follow-up in email. To think about, let us know what is best for the council to do. I think it's important for us to speak now before it's finalized as to what they want to do and what we've suggested and may not be doing. But still, if anyone's interested, I think it's easy enough since we're here
Oh, yeah.
to do it. So think about it, whether you'd rather come earlier before a meeting and get it in before a meeting, or a whole separate day for
I
it.
guess whenever there isn't like a real rush hour period, I don't know.
We'll be willing to be able to get out of work earlier. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
people can, so
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it out to the group, but you have a heads up since you're here. That's one thing we want to get planned. The budget is something that everyone is still going through. There are little gems in it hidden away as usual when there's a weekend flurry of politics in Albany, where we get some things shoved in, at the end.
2:00 in the morning, yeah.
Yeah, so, I don't know if you're familiar with what's in there, it's in my report a little bit, but there is money coming to Long Island whenever congestion pricing issue eventually gets decided. Because it was passed without any details, so, that was something we had been pushing for, that we were not necessarily pushing for congestion pricing as a council, but our position was, if you're going to do it, then there has to be a piece for Long Island. And we testified in front of the Senate hearing on that, and Senate Long Island senators were very strong in pushing for that, and so at least that's one bright spot out of it.
So can I
yeah,
add something to that?
sure.
So, what the governor and new chair, Pat Foy, have been saying about that, about the amount of money, in fact, is that because congestion pricing will fund the capital program until that program has been developed, they don't know exactly how much money or exactly what projects, which sort of it makes sense. It's a little bit of a chicken and the egg.
And we also, even when they come up with the plan, we don't know how much they're actually going to make, because people may choose to take the train instead of driving,
Right.
which they won't be paying congestion pricing, then they'll be paying. So who knows?
I mean, they did say that it must meet 15 billion, bonded $15 billion. So does that mean that they'll be able to raise, or to increase other taxes, or how they're gonna make up the balance if they don't meet that? Entirely possible. There's a lot
It's not
of,
for a while yet.
yeah.
And then there's all the startup costs. I mean,
Right.
Well,
They're less the startup costs,
Yeah.
so then, no, it has to, according to a contract that went through the board a couple months ago, the whole installation of whatever kind of readers, whatever technology, needs to go through the NEPA process, which adds a year and a half on, so that's one reason. Now, I don't know why it has to go through NEPA, but I don't know. It would be counterintuitive to me. They tried to do the BQE reconstruction without NEPA. So to put invisible readers on city roads would not seem to be, but.
So another part that affects us in the budget, was the changing of the on-time performance metrics, where it now is 5 minutes 59 seconds, which we've been fighting since Jerry was in high school.
Yeah.
When he
Just
was
about,
chair, and
yeah.
the chair before him, and everything. They've now changed it to now 2 minutes, without, to be honest, without consulting the railroad, and just did it on their own, because it's what we're calling for. I don't know how it's going to work out. I've spoken with them, and we're going to watch closely to see that there's no games are played to change it around, or anything that will hurt riders. Whether it's not keeping connections, to keep on time. I don't know what
Yeah, that's the
we're
whole,
going
yeah.
to be watching. And I've told them that we'll be watching to see that they be truthful and what's going on. And if the numbers go down, it's because they should go down. If they're not meeting it on time, they're not meeting on time. I mean, there's no consequence as far as our position is. We're not saying you have to have a refund if you're late. Just be honest that you're late.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all we're asking. That's the only thing we've always asked for. 2 minutes. We'll see how it goes. But that was now in the budget. That was passed. So and there may be other things that come up. I want to switch right on to, because some starts at 5. Is that when it starts?
Yeah, it starts at 5.
You
So we
want
got
to mention the
15 minutes.
20% thing?
The
The stories that started coming out yesterday.
well,
And a couple,
there also over social media was that people in Queens, certain branches in Queens, will get a 20% decrease in their which no one had discussed at this stage, and came out, and of course people all over from now. So Suffolk were very upset that why are they getting? They have a shorter commute, and they're paying less to begin with. Now we do represent those riders too. Unlike the other program in Brooklyn, this wasn't aimed at some riders to get them on the train. This is current Long Island riders that are getting that other people aren't getting. If you want to go into a little bit very quickly, but because we researched it when it came out, we researched where is this hidden in the budget? Where did this come
Where did
from?
that come from?
Right, so in last year's budget, the first phase of congestion pricing was the for-hire vehicle surcharge. And so that money is starting to come in. And there was a provision apparently in last year's budget that said that they created this outer borough transit fund. There's also there's also funding in this year's budget. It's $25 million, I believe, that's set aside for capital, aside from the congestion pricing. So we've been trying to find, I mean, I've read the budget many times now. I even make it through once or twice without falling asleep. But we cannot find any documentation that says, okay, boom, now all of a sudden you get this 20% decrease. Where there are two elected officials who put out a press release. We've seen the press release. Apparently there was a surprise I spoke to one of the reporters who covered it. It was a surprise to the railroad. It was a surprise to
Yeah.
the governor's office. So they're trying to track it down. The fact that Newsday hasn't covered it at all sort of cements the fact that this is potentially a premature first step toward getting something that they want.
We're gonna follow up, but it's the problem with, as we all know, with social media. Once it's out there, boom, it spreads.
Oh, yeah, it's just
And,
like wildfire.
You know, so we have to find out about it. Puts us in no situation we can't necessarily be opposed to our members, but we really should extend everybody. That's always a position everyone should be getting, not just people.
It's also
It's also a very busy line.
yeah, it's a capacity
Oh, yeah,
issue,
yeah,
especially
exactly.
before we cite access.
So, next, if you read, I want to point out specifically, MTA has a new chairman, Pat Foy. Pat Foy, before this, he worked with the MTA. He was at the Port Authority, but before that, in a previous life, he was an MTA board member from Long Island. He is a Long Island Railroad rider. He has worked very closely with our council when he was on the board. So I do think that we'll have as good a relationship as we can have with an MTA chair, with him in there. I've spoken to him already, and we're going to meet soon. But he understands what it is to ride the Long Island Railroad, which I can, not necessarily all MTA chairs can speak to that. He's actually on it. You know, as he said to me, I still carry my monthly ticket in my wallet. He said to me right now. So hopefully that will help us cut through some bureaucracy when we need it. And
At this point, it looks like his close staff is going with him to that position, which would be very helpful, too.
Mitch Pally, who's been a long-term Suffolk board member, was replaced by Kevin Law. Kevin Law is head of the Long Island Association, so it's clearly going to be a very business-oriented decision. I've spoken with Kevin as well, congratulated him. He's looking forward to it, and I did speak to Mitch, and I want to thank Mitch for all his years of service on our behalf, because we've worked closely with Mitch over the years, and he has everything he did was from concern for the rider. He really bucked it a lot of times. I mean, he voted against the fare hike, which was one of the very few. We also have a new Nassau board member who voted for the fare hike. But we haven't met with him yet. He was on the board years ago, was removed, and now he's back on. So we will have to meet with him. My goal will be, after some time has passed, it may be hard, and I would like to get both those board members to come to one of our meetings. We've had it in the past. This may be a little more difficult. I know Kevin's time is really difficult, and I don't know if Mr. Mack would be willing to do that, but we will offer it. And we also will invite Mr. Foy to come later on. I told him get acclimated, get in as far as before we ask for that. We'll see. That's always a time thing. But if anyone, any chair would be willing to, I think that he'd be one that would be willing to.
Maybe it makes sense to meet with all, three of them together separately right after a board meeting when they're already
I
here.
meant coming to one of our meetings.
Right.
Not saying, as far as meeting with them, I'm not concerned with that. I want to bring them to one of our meetings,
Yeah.
which leads me into the next part, which is our focus right now has to be to get new members. I think I'm meeting with somebody tomorrow that may be interested in the Suffolk seat that we have open. But Nassau is our big area, because we're going to have Queens filled soon. So Nassau is our biggie. There's someone supposed to see me tonight that may be interested. He's going to come by the table tonight. I spoke to him. It's someone gave him my name, I don't know. But if you know people, get the word out. We will put them in the trade talk stuff, but it's better when it comes from people we know. It's vetted a lot easier for us to know that they're interested in the right thing. People who just are regular writers with no agenda other than to help the writers, you know, write some response. That's it. We don't look if anybody wants to, you know,
Take over the world.
well,
Yeah.
or pick a fight for no reason, or
Yeah.
make a name for themselves. If this is people who just really take it every day and want to help. So that's the next thing I'm asking members to do, is to really go outside and ask about people who may want to do it. I did meet with Nassau County Curran. I'm going to see Baloney in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
That's something.
25th, I think.
To keep reminding them that we're here and you know, to speak to us. My meeting with Nassau County Executive Curran went very, very well. She was very open to the issue. Her husband is a commuter, so she at least was very open to, you know, involving us, and we discussed the issue of, you know, parking and things like that, our issue that we've been cleaning up. And there was an article in Newsday a week ago after that. They did an article about parking, and she put in there that we need to work with the community council on this. So she got it.
That's good.
She got it, and she put it out there, and she heard. She was listening. So we'll see the follow-up to that. We'll keep going. We don't care what party anybody is. We worked very well with Mariana's office when he was. We try to be very, you know, apolitical. Whoever's in office is who we work with, because our writers are all, you know, political and apolitical and non-political in their own states. And you know, so that's what we do. So we're going to continue to do that. There are, I think, elections coming up pretty soon for some of them. So we try to be very thoughtful of not getting involved in the political process for anybody. So sometimes I will send out an email saying that we were invited to a press conference, but we're not going to be going because we just don't want to, unless it's really an issue that is not for purposes of campaigning. We'll partake, but we won't partake if it's a campaigning issue. So,
Isn't it?
well, we've had
Some things are much more blatant.
well during a campaign season.
Yeah.
I'm saying during election season. That's we're very careful what we pick and don't pick. But you're always welcome to anyone that we have to come to it. You know, as long as we decide it's not election geared.
Yeah.
It's open to all our members to come and be there. We are working on something with Senator Schumer's office. He's always been really, really good at doing press conferences with us, and he does it just with us, not with 10 other people. He'll do it just with our council, and he gives us the microphone, and he really is very, very, very good, which we're very appreciative of. And he takes our issues, and they're not national issues, but he still finds the time to do it. We appreciate that, and we're currently working on something on him on that. Am I missing anything as far as just getting an update to let you know what we're doing? And
I just wanted to bring up one thing. I received a request by City Council Member Daniel Drum, who represents Elmhurst and Jackson Heights. He was inquiring as to whatever happened with the Elmhurst station, which goes back to Elena's administration.
that's the same issue we always bring up, yeah.
Well, he
I don't-
asked
I don't
if
have
he can
anything
get an
set up.
update.
It's not really, I wouldn't.
Well, so today I went to a lunch that the governor spoke at, touting his infrastructure investments. And as part of his commitment, and I want to read it because I don't want to get this wrong, because this is, you know, what he said is going to be, was that in the next 4 years, and this is everything I know, in the next 4 years, come on, the LIR double track, third track, and 39 new stations will be built.
That's what he said, yeah, when I went to LA, can you say
I don't
that?
know what the 39 stations are.
He had a map when I went up there
And
one
he
time,
didn't-
but it didn't.
No.
Yeah.
And since it was in the sentence with the LIRR,
Yeah.
yeah.
I will tell you, if anyone saw Newsday today, and as far as Belmont,
Mhm.
they're now discussing building a whole new station at Belmont. Instead of just renovating the one that's there, the issue now is building a whole new one. That's an issue we've been asked to be part of by both sides.
Yeah.
That we have not, because our position is we just care that whatever is there, that there's enough transportation needs to meet the people. Other than what's built there, what isn't built there, we can't. I hope everyone agrees. We're not going to get pulled into that.
Is there anything that could be sent to this council member to give him some sort of answer, or is there someone else that has to reply to him?
For what? Elmhurst?
He wants to know- he wants-
if he's a councilman,
He's a city
I
councilman.
assume he can ask the railroad directly, but we'll be more than happy to find out, but he has access to
Okay,
ask them directly.
that's what I told him.
So I mean, I think that, there's two questions. Is it in the current capital plan? And if not, will it be in the next one? And if it's not in the next one, will he advocate for it? But-
What he told me was that at the time Helena put money into the budget, which was supposed to be $30 million, and it was already budgeted to be built and renovated, whatever they wanted to do with the station, but it hasn't been since.
Right, okay, so we'll look in the.
We did it, what happened last time? You were involved, man, last time.
I'm sorry?
Remember what happened? You were involved in it last time.
It took
when you were
money away,
here.
right?
You were involved here. What
I was
happened?
involved with Pine Law Station.
No, also, you went to the meeting.
Pine Law
didn't you?
was redone.
Yeah, I'm not happy with the way it was done, but yes, it
Yeah.
was redone.
Right.
Instead of adding in the handicap, they just took away
Mm,
the station in the room.
right.
That was not really not what we pushed for. All right, well, yeah,
we
but
can look-
we
Thank
can
you.
look into it, but I would suggest that he not wait for,
Okay.
because when he sends a letter, it's just as helpful as us sending
Yeah.
a letter.
But he wants fact-based, so we get it, so we'll take a look
Okay,
and
thank
let you
you.
know where that
That's
is.
Anything else that I need to get over it? Have we discussed anything?
No, I think we.
To go outside and stay as long as you can, our goal really is, when we usually do our own meet the council. It's just us, we have a table, and we go out, and we give out things, and we push. This is their event that we're just gonna be having a table at. So it seemed that we've discussed, that really our goal really right now is we have an email list of people, right, that's what we have. We're trying to increase that, so we're gonna have a pad, and we can really encourage people just to give us their name and their email address. If they wanna give you any complaints, we'll take it down, but the railroad's there really for their complaints.
Yeah.
Really, tonight.
So
When
we've
we
got
do-
3
when
of
we-
these.
When we do our event, we ask them for their complaints, and then we compile a letter afterwards with all the legitimate complaints, and we send them to the railroad and ask for a response. I don't think that's what our role is today, because they're there to hear it directly. We can
Yeah.
listen in, I have no problem listening, so we can see if there's a recurring complaint. It's always good to know about it, so we can follow up. But really we want to increase our email list for our riders. That's what we really want to do. And if someone looks really interested, let them know that there are open positions. If they seem, I wouldn't go out there and say, if they come interested and they seem they really want to know. And if you can just point to anybody, if you don't want to get into the full what the extent of it is, but that's I think what our role is really a quiet. We're there. We haven't gotten to the other ones. The first one that we're doing with the railroad.
So these were brochures that Sheila did updating to today and made all the phone calls and checked the links and stuff.
Wait, which one are you giving? The tips and tricks,
The-
right?
Like to
the-
see
yeah.
this before.
Okay,
So this.
making sure.
If you want to see it, it's double-sided.
Oh, wait.
So we can give that out today.
Lisa, can
or
you
we
give her a
can update
double-sided
it.
one?
Yeah, 'cause I want to put a little
Yeah, yeah. Right, this is, and then this is a PCAC FAQ, that is also, was mildly updated, but still needs more.
This is old, right? This is number right? This
Those
is
ones
number,
are.
isn't it, right?
That, I don't like the way that whole thing says, because does that mean it's only the AM
Like I
riders?
said to you, I think that we should wait for our event.
Yeah.
And really
I'm
work
sorry,
on
I
this.
thought you had a copy.
Take a look at it, we're gonna make changes, give your thoughts.
Yeah, so I made,
Well, there's
this is
already a
rough
typo.
draft.
That's
I want to
great.
get feedback from you guys
There's
to
already a
see
typo
what I
with
should
Brooklyn.
add and change.
So, there's a typo with Brooklyn.
Okay, so make the circle,
Yeah.
we're gonna give this out, not today, we're gonna have it at our meet the council, which if everyone's,
Yes.
if we have people, the problem is we wanna do it in the past, but we need the people volunteering. We can't just be the 3 of us sitting at a table doing it. So we'd like to do it in May or early June, but we need to know people are gonna commit to even if we do shifts, I don't care if we have shifts among people, it doesn't matter. Because we don't wanna, the members should be out. The staff can sit by the desk if they want to do that stuff, but the members need to be out to the riders, engaging them, giving them our stuff, because people don't wanna always come over. I find last time we did it, I went out to the people, and when I got it, they really appreciated it, because they knew who we were. So when they saw it was for them, then they changed their demeanor. They thought we were part of the railroad when they saw the table.
Yeah.
They see Long Island Railroad, they don't wanna come over.
Yeah.
Once we engaged with us, then they were much more but that's what we need to be doing, so we can't just have 1 or 2 people. Wait, so, this is the brochure?
So that's the
together?
LIRRCC brochure draft.
Okay. And
Well, no,
we-
this
the
is the
other-
tips and tricks. Remember you
tips and
guys asked
tricks.
for it?
That's what I asked for.
Yeah.
Right,
That's it.
right.
Tips and tricks.
I'd ask, I think that's good for us to give out something that says, hey, you don't know, the railroad, you can, does these things.
Yeah.
Like the coat thing, if you ripped your coat, or if you're late, they'll give you a letter that says that you're late to your work. It's good for, I think, us to,
Yeah,
it's,
because
the
some people
railroad,
don't know
the
that.
railroad will appreciate that, so it's not a knock on them, and it's something
Yeah.
we're letting people know, so we wanna work on that as well.
Yes.
For our meeting, our give out meeting.
And also the new app, I don't know if anybody's used that, it'd be interesting
To add, yeah.
to see. Have you guys used
With
the
the
app?
trains, with the train.
Yeah.
trains look- Yeah, I've used it, yeah. It's pretty accurate.
Is it, as it,
People
well,
use
you're,
people use it a lot with that, when the accident occurred, with the derailment.
Yeah.
right,
Because they saw the train go up, you know, on the thing, so people seem to have liked that.
that's pretty, yeah, I'm sure they did. So, I don't know if Matt wants to be concerned citizen, or,
Yeah, he can't have one of these
He's
right
not
now,
official
but-
yet,
but
so.
Right.
hopefully soon, hopefully it gets done soon.
alright, so I've reached out, again, to the
Since you've been
governor's
through the
office.
process once before, hopefully they can expand a little
They've
bit.
expanded the process. I've asked them to send me sort of a flow chart of what the entire process is, which I have not received yet. They, one of the people that the governor recommended to as a new board member is from the Metro North Commuter Council, so I would really like them to replace, in kind, or maybe twofer for some members here and there. But I'm not sure that we're in a bargaining position. We'll do what we can do.
Yeah, there's one thing before we leave, this is one thing I'd like to get into the minutes, won't dwell on it. When we had the incident a couple weeks back, the Uber drivers, I don't know if the Lyft drivers, but Uber in particular, I mean, they really stuck it to the commuters. And while there's a taxi and limousine commission in each county that can regulate, from what I understand, these people aren't regulated. And, I mean, they quadrupled their rates. It wasn't even just double their rates. There was a report from one person, it was 7 o'clock, the trip was $18, and at 7:15, the trip was $82.
It's one of
Well,
the
that's-
biggest
I mean, that's-
controversies.
That's not by the
outrageous.
drivers
Surge
themselves,
pricing.
that's the app.
Well,
So
we'll have to- we'll
surge
have to-
It's called
pricing?
surge
Again,
pricing.
But, sir,
Yeah.
but there should be a limit on surge
but
pricing.
I
Yeah.
think I want to tell you something. We were, obviously, the history is, we were instrumental in getting the taxi
Right,
limousine
yeah.
commission in Suffolk. There was none. We went out and we got it done, because I was hit with
Yeah.
that situation with the cab. I personally saw it, I was able to attest to it. When we hear on social media, I just want to make sure that we confirm these things
Yeah.
before we throw that story out there, because I just don't want to be the one that we're putting the story out there.
But it was everywhere that they were,
Right, but
you know.
we need to confirm it, and we need
Yeah.
to figure out how we can go about doing it and the right way without us. I don't want to repeat stories that may not be true, because our
Yeah.
credibility in getting it done will affect. But we need to figure out what.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we.
There should be a cap on surge pricing. I mean, that's.
Well,
we got-
that's
but,
a much
yeah.
bigger, but we could ask the
Yeah.
county
But they're not.
to
But that,
investigate.
right, because
Yeah.
I think they're not licensed by the county. I think that's how it may work. So that I don't know if they have the control. They have cabs. Cabs have to be licensed
Yeah.
by the county. So well, yes, I think
But
it's
somebody
something
needs to regulate
I
these
definitely think
people,
that
yeah.
we need to look into it, but we need to slowly and do it the right way
Yeah.
and not just jump because
Okay.
of social media. I think. I mean, I just don't want. I want to make sure we're not. We're
I just wanted to put it in
I
as
felt
something.
comfortable because it happened to me last time. So I was
Something to look
comfortable saying
into,
it.
you know.
Well, I mean, we can ask the county to investigate reports
Well, I'm
of
gonna
surge
see. I'm gonna see.
pricing.
I'm gonna see
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
in 2 weeks.
Okay.
I'll ask him personally because at least to see whether at the highest level to him to find out.
Yeah.
If we make calls right now, I won't get an answer for 2 weeks anyway.
Yeah,
I'd rather
this
go
is
face
true,
to
yeah.
face. But I mean, I think you're right. Just I want to make sure that if it's, I don't know who regulates them. State.
Well, that's what I was just, right
I
now,
mean, I don't
just
think it's
trying to find out
counties.
who regulates them.
Right, it
you
says
know.
it's county.
Just so you know the problem with we wanted a whole thing of regulating the fares and everything. That's what we really wanted it, like in Suffolk, because there was none. And the reason they can't do it is because it goes by town. So if you cross the town, then the town regulates. It's not just
Yeah.
like a one fare. Like in New York City, you could regulate borough.
Yeah.
And so it became a really difficult thing that is regulating. Because we really wanted to stop this
Yeah.
stuff. Because whenever a train would break down, the cabs would come and they'd be charging
Yeah.
3 times what it is. And so at least we got the commission as a first step. But now the second step is giving them maybe more power, more authority. We have to see what we need to do. I think, but it's gonna take a little research to figure out what we can do and what's the best thing to do. But I think you're right. I mean, I was away when it happened, so I didn't
Yeah.
get to see it happen, one-on-one. But I don't know. I used to when I was away, and there is different pricing. I mean, if
Yeah.
you can go on that one time, stop and go back 2 minutes later, the price is different, right? I don't know how that works. I don't know
Well,
if it's 'cause
they
of
call
availability
it
or-
surge pricing, I guess it's supply and demand, if there's a
Right.
big demand for their services,
Right.
they up their rates.
Well, this may
Well,
be an
that's what
issue.
their algorithm is a
Yeah.
supply versus
Yeah.
demand algorithm.
Well, maybe that's something that
But
is a
it's
lot
been-
bigger issue than just a
It's,
railroad.
what-
You know,
it's
we're
probably
taking-
the biggest, what, if not one of the biggest controversies that Uber, Lyft has ever had
Right,
since
so I'm
their
saying, so that may
inception.
be well beyond
Yeah.
that we can get, but it doesn't mean we can't bring it up and
Oh,
look for
yeah.
solutions.
At least look
I'm
into
all
it.
fine with that, I have no problem doing that.
So I didn't wanna take a lot of time here, I just wanted to put it out there, and then,
Can you
we
email
can
it to me?
further.
Oh, you know what, let me
later
put my
on.
bag.
Okay.
I've got it. Is Larry, you still on?
Larry, you still there?
You're on mute.
Yes, I am.
Anything you want to bring up or question before we head out to the, we're gonna head out to the event?
Yeah, there's a couple things I want to. You guys got to make it to the event, so we can wait.
You sure? It's up to you. We can do it if you want.
Well, it's just that there's a whole big construction project with Merrick and Belmore train station, and on both of these stations, there are 5 ways to get on the platform, 5 staircases, 2 on the east, 2 on the west, 1 in the middle. And in Merrick and Belmore, they're now replacing the glass by the main staircase. So they've closed the main staircases, and it's causing issues. People are getting dropped off, and then they find out they can't get there, and they have to walk to one of the other end. And then one other trivial thing I'll bring up. I've been doing a lot of work at the Penn Hotel, and I never realized it until I walked there. There is no sign or any indication on the 7th Avenue side to tell you that that's Penn Station, that the Long Island Railroad is located there. It says Penn Station and Amtrak. Nothing. I can't tell you the number of times people were standing out there looking for the Long Island Railroad. There is not one sign on the 7th Avenue side to tell you that's the Long Island Railroad.
All right, so Larry, why don't you try to be with us when we do the tour of the redoing of Penn Station, because I'm guessing that may be part of which they're planning to do next year. It's not like it's like 5 years off.
I would love, if I'm available, I will certainly be
Yeah,
there.
because that may be part of what they're going to show us. We could ask about that. That may be part of what they're, because I know they're doing.
the new
they're
entrance,
doing new
probably.
right. They're doing all these new entrances
Yeah.
to Penn Station. That's what part of this project has. Brand new entrances to bring it right in. So that may be part of all of it. And if not, that's the time to
Yeah, and I
suggest
think
it.
on both of those direct entrances were on the 8th Avenue side. So, but I
No.
could be wrong.
No, there's one that's going to come down straight to.
There's one by the Chase Bank right under Madison Square Garden entrance well, the existing one
Yeah,
that
the
has
new
a
ones
Long
will be,
Island
there'll be
Railroad.
another one over there. I think
They're
that's
going to
bring
be
it
going
right.
over, I think, the block between 34th and 33rd Street, I think.
Well, that's why we need to go do it, but that's
Right.
actually something we're gonna take notes of, we're
Yeah.
gonna,
Yeah.
while we're there, we should discuss that with them. I'm glad you brought it up. As far as the Merrick thing, I'm not sure I know anything about that, so I guess we can find out.
There's nothing you can do. It's just the construction is closed for 3 weeks, so people are pissed, but that too shall pass.
Okay. All right, apparently the signage boards were not working over at Seaford today. I got an email, I sent it over to Railroad, didn't hear back.